All right, y'all. Welcome back to Tip of the Tongue Talks, where we talk about Interview with a Vampire. And today we're going to focus on Claudia and the Coven. So let's go ahead and get started. So we have to start off with Louis and his state of mind. What do you think Louis was going through as he walked through the quarter with the play, Jermaine?
What? Ooh, shoot. What was Louis? What was Louis' state of mind when he was walking through the quarter during the plague? It's the same always. It's the same. Oh God, what is going on? What am I doing? What life am I living? Who would do this to me? All of those thoughts.
Oh, yeah?
I have to agree with Jermaine. The same old humdrum, woe is me. Life is so unfair, even though I low key asked for this. And I'm just hopeless. And so I'm just wandering, as I do in my typical Louis fashion, waiting to get into something that Lestat's going to have to get my dumb ass out of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what did Lestat do when Louis fed on Claudia?
What did Lestat do when
When Louis
Louis?
fed on Claudia?
She
I know.
laughed. He mocked him. He outright mocked him. Like, not you that's accustomed to eating and feeding on the rats. Now you feeding on children. Like, this is glorious. Like, okay. Dang, there was a quote that he used, and it was so funny. I should have wrote it down, but it was hilarious. He was taunting him because Louis has this power struggle in his head constantly. And so for Lestat to walk in and see him feeding on this baby was just everything that he needed to be like, I told you so. You know you're a predator. I don't know why you keep trying to fight your nature, but this is delicious. And I'm going to laugh in your face.
You know, it's almost like saying, when I'm around you, Lestat, I'm not going to give you what you want. But when you're not around, that's when I'm going to indulge in what my true nature is.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, surrounding all of that, why did Lestat make Claudia?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at books, girls, and purrs.
Happy Wednesday already with Louis Annoyance. Yep, books, girls, and purrs.
If you're looking for Louis sympathizers, wrong channel, wrong day.
I love my
Minus
Louis.
one.
I love my Louis.
Minus one
Will you marry me?
today.
Brad Pitt, Jacob Anderson, it don't matter.
Any version will do.
Will you marry me? As sung by Paula Abdul. Will you marry me? Yeah. But I'm sorry, what was your original question?
So why did Lestat make Claudia?
To give Louis a family. He knew that in order to keep Louis, Louis needed a family. He needed something to hold on to. It's you know what? It was someone said it in the comments, and it kind of stuck with me. By creating this family, he kind of made Louis stay with him. It was almost like he trapped him.
Not
Hmm.
almost, most blatantly. A clusterfuck family. That's exactly what it was. He blatantly told Claudia, like, hey, he's not gonna leave us, if I have you. So just I ain't gonna say what I want to say. But yes, he definitely trapped him.
Say it.
Just like a
Say
raggedy couple of summer people I want to know put a baby in you, so you ain't gonna go nowhere. 18 years later, I'm finally free. Did my time. My indentured servitude is up. But but yes, he trapped them. And I love how this version is different from the show. So we get to kind of see, of course, after watching the show and then coming back to the movie, it is a little bland with how it transpired. But obviously, you only are allotted so much time in the movie. We know that, which is why I absolutely love the show. But like, it's completely different. It is completely different. And so I did appreciate the difference.
What's one difference that stood out to you with Claudia from the show to what we watched?
She's a predator. She is a predator. The show was able to allow you to see the nuance in Claudia, um, and like the methodical strategery. Yes, I just created that word.
I
The
love it. It should be a
methodical
word.
strategery of Claudia. The movie, we just knew that she was strategic. She was smart. She was intelligent for her age. Um, but that's when it comes to Claudia, that was the one thing that kind of stuck out.
So if I'm gonna juxtapose the Claudias, one difference immediately is the age difference. And so the Claudia that we meet is a little more developed, but they did keep some of the same things. I like how the show made it kind of a romance when she found her person versus in the movie, she wanted a mother. So I did appreciate that. Although she was infatuated with the female form, they addressed that, but in the end, it's kind of like they made it like she wanted a mother because she was so young. And so, hands down, Kirsten Dunst did an amazing job as Claudia. Let's be very clear. At her age, what she brought to the screen in the 90s was beautiful to watch. And I love how they have consistently casted Claudia to where you cannot help but fall in love with this character, the show and the movie alike.
Mm-hmm. So Brooke her said Louis is like Eeyore. Laugh out loud, but as soon as Claudia was made, Lou got on the program and stopped eating rats.
You know what? And you're right. And you're right.
He
Why
is
do you think that is? Why do you think he decided, like, okay, Claudia's around. I'm gonna at least in the movie. Why did he start killing people, drinking their blood? Why do you think he did that?
I think he had to be strong for her. And he knew he had to be strong for her. He was her protector. And he couldn't ultimately be her protector by eating. He couldn't be his optimal self, his apex predator self, by just eating rats. He had to eat humans in order to power up and be the protector and predator he needed to be for her.
100% agreed. He needed to have his stamina up. You can't come here with this weak dick energy, Louis. And you got this young child running around here real vibrant. She'll never run out of energy. And her thirst and hunger are insatiable. And so you sitting up here eating on pigeons and rats, you're not gonna be able to keep up with her. She's gonna wear you out. So I completely agree. Of course, I said it in a way more crass way than Brittany did, but I agree with you, Brittany. Yes, he needed to, as you say, power up.
So, how did Claudia navigate the dynamics of her relationship with Louis and Lestat?
Oh, Jesus, you asking these hard questions. How did Claudia navigate the
Dynamics of
dynamics?
the relationship between Louis and Lestat. Okay,
Mm,
Margaret.
So what I'm gonna say is Claudia was much more direct, straightforward when it came to how she approached Lestat. I think she felt that was what he was owed, and I also think that she thought he could deal with that. Whereas with Louis, if you noticed when she was talking to Lestat, she was forceful. You could tell it in her voice, even on her face when she was talking to Louis. It was almost like she was singing, "Oh Louis." Da, 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 da. It was almost like she was the mother and Louis was the child. You know what I'm saying? And probably she was playing on the fact that she knew what Louis wanted was a child, and so she was gonna be that child for Louis in order to get what she wanted.
So, do you think she was being manipulative by playing that role?
100%, 100%.
What do you
No
think
doubt.
were to manipulate Louis?
Say that one more time.
What do you think her motivations were to be manipulative more towards Louis than Lestat?
Because she knew at the end of the day he was going to give in. He was weak. He was weak.
Yeah, she was able to get that more nurturing, softer side from Louis when she needed that. So we have to remember, of course, she still remembers her human life. And so her parents were taken away from her prematurely. She still is a child. And Lestat is giving her that mentor protege kind of relationship, and she's able to be cutthroat and just avant-garde with him. But with Louis, she gets to be a little bit softer. She kind of gets to be a little girl. So you get to live in both worlds. I get to be an apex predator, as you would say, with Lestat and feed everything that he needs. And so you're the apple of his eye in that vein. But with Louis, you get to be this little girl because he lost his own child. So when you think about it, Claudia is quite genius. She absolutely is. I love her character.
So after realizing she will be a child forever, what was her feelings towards Lestat, and why didn't she feel that way towards Louis?
Um, I think she did feel. I think she felt the same way towards Louis that she felt towards Lestat. I think that ultimately she understood that Louis is a weaker person than Lestat, and she can't blame him for being weak because that's within his constitution, right? That's just who he is. And so at the end of the day, it was easier for her to get over Louis, also because Louis was still nurturing. Well, yeah, still nurturing her, and she knew that nurturing spirit was I want to say positive, but for lack of a better word, was positive, whereas from Lestat it was negative.
Mm-hmm. Elia?
She was absolutely pissed at the both of them initially, like we know. But I feel like she was a little bit more apt to forgive Louis because he made us both. So, at the end of the day, this is his fault. And so, if you need someone to blame, why not blame the villain, Lestat? And so, because like Jermaine said as well, Louis is nurturing, and so it's a little bit softer. It's hard to stay mad at him, so she kind of crawls back into the coffin with him or whatever, and let him know, okay, I can't stay mad at you.
But do you think she was being manipulative then, even by doing that?
I do, I
Yeah.
do, I do. She's a genius. She's an absolute genius. I love watching her.
She's an apex predator all the way in the form of a child.
So,
That's
which I would love to know, like Claudia before being made, because you become more of what you are, and then you have all of these, super capabilities. So it's just like you are just so quick with it, so sharp. What were you like as a human?
right. So next question I have, awaken soul vibes. The only time I get annoyed is when people hate Claudia. Who would hate Claudia?
Retweet. Who and they come on now,
How can you hate Claudia?
hate yourself.
That's right. So the question I have for y'all is how and why did she? Oh, I love she has Lestat's blood. Yes, that's right. And with Lestat's blood, she also has whose blood with Jermaine and Elia? Whose blood does
Oh,
she have?
Magnus,
Yeah.
Akasha.
Mm.
Yeah, Magnus, Akasha. Hmm.
Hmm.
A cocktail of bad bitch.
That's right. So how and why did she attempt to kill Lestat? And how did Louis react to her actions?
Again, genius. I know Lestat's appetite, and they really played down the sexual nature in the film. They played it down too much for my taste, but it still is one of my favorite films. But okay, what's better than one? Two. I'm about to get you a set of twins. We know that everything that is good comes
One
in
for the front, one
pairs.
for the back.
Side to side. Okay. So everybody that it has a half a brain cell, knows that everything good comes in pairs. So I know Daddy Lestat's appetite. So if I come to him with not one but two men and they twins, he gonna listen. He gonna want to play ball. He's gonna want to play ball. And so she
Play balls.
Plural. So she hooks him in by presenting him with an offer that he cannot refuse. And so that kind of puts him on the hook there. And I'm gonna pause right there because I feel like I did enough.
All right, Jermaine, finish it off.
What's the question again? I'm sorry.
Okay, how and why did she kill Lestat? And how did Louis react to her actions?
Yeah, so she played to Lestat's weaknesses, and again, this is according to the movie. And once I don't think he couldn't sense what it was she was doing. There was no Antoinette in the picture, so he couldn't sense what it was she was doing. So he indulged himself, and quite fast, like the poison went to work. Right. I think I answered your question. I feel like your question was a 2-part question, and I think I only answered 1 part.
Yeah, last part. How did Louis react to what she did?
She poisoned him and then slit his throat.
I mean, as much as Louis hated Lestat, he also loved Lestat. So it was kind of like, ooh, shit. It was too much for him to fathom. It was like, on one hand, he wished he could have done it. On the other hand, he was so remorseful that his daughter, his lover, killed his other lover. Like, what do you do? What do you do in that throuple when one lover kills the other lover and you're the third? Like, do you walk off into the sunset? What'd you say?
That sounds like a Tyler Perry movie.
A Tubi movie.
I got something I want to say, but I'm not gonna say it.
Say it. Say it.
Tyler Perry. Then he would be writing about his life.
Speaking of delicious things, I found it absolutely yummy when she was like, "Pick me up," so my feet don't get in the blood. I'm like, she's so cutthroat. Pick me up, not just pick me up like, "Daddy, I need your affection." No, pick me up because I don't want to get blood on these shoes. I'm like, this girl.
All right, books, gers, and purrs. Yeah, she's Claudia de Lioncourt through and through.
She really is. She really is like that. If it wasn't his blood that was in her, and we're talking about DNA, she has his DNA. Like, there's no mother. It's just all daddy. It's just all daddy.
Why do you think Lestat didn't see this coming when he saw the animosity that she was having towards him?
That's it. He was, in his mind, he was her maker. Why would, like, who would do that to their maker? Like, that's unimaginable.
Vain and narcissistic. And then she had the perfect play.
So after Lestat was dumped in the bayou, Claudia became obsessed with finding our kind. Why was she obsessed with vampires and finding more of our kind?
So when you read the books, you find out that most of the vampires that were made they want to know who and what they are, why they are, who put them there, how long they've been there, under what circumstances were they created. Like, almost all of them have the same urges at a particular point, especially another thing that must be understood is that Lestat, well, he did have some of the answers. He from when he went to to Paris. He had some of the answers, but he kept them from Louis, partly because of his experience in Paris. So he was just like, why should I share this information with you, because it's all false. It's fake news. So let's just discover who and what we are amongst ourselves. So there's no reason to talk about the past. But it's kind of like a kid. Who's your mama? Who's your daddy? Who you know what I'm saying? Like every kid goes through that where they want to know.
It's part of human nature to be inquisitive. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. Oh God, the comments.
More
I
like R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet, just a wild telenovela.
a telenovela. Y'all are funny. I'm here for the comments. They just mute, sip my wine, and just read the comments.
Okay, so Louis and Claudia go to France and come in contact with the Coven. What is their first interaction with the Coven?
Santiago.
Santiago, Ronald McDonald. He was a clown. He was an absolute
Buffoon.
Why
buffoon.
why do y'all think Santiago acts like a buffoon and how towards Louis, and how does Armand respond to Louis?
Hell yeah.
Um, I'm not entirely sure why the buffoonery was turned up in the movie, other than some type of smoke screen just to kind of feel him out. And then Armand just kind of grows weary of it and is like, okay, look, enough of this. What was your other question? I'm sorry.
And then I'm sorry, how does Armand respond to Louis?
He gives him a business card. Like, I know you new here. But basically come to the Theater de Vampire. And so that's all I kind of remember from that scene. Sorry.
I just remember one B lace front swinging in the wind in that long coat and him walking through. I was like, all they needed was some smoke in the background.
Uh-oh,
Ooh, he's sexy.
he must be in charge.
Yes, in charge.
So
Okay.
before you go on to the next question, so one of Santiago's gifts is the gift of mimicry. He's able to mimic other people, including vampires, which also, I mean, and part of that gift is to know what they're thinking.
He was
Um,
hearing him. You are right. Thank you for bringing
mhm.
that up.
And so another thing that was happening too in that particular moment was the other vampires were looking on. They were trying to find out as much about Louis as possible. And so by distracting Louis in that way, they were able to pierce his thoughts. Armand, however, was able to pierce his thought a lot better than all the other vampires. And that was part of the reason why Armand stopped it. He knew what he needed to know, and he needed to stop it because he didn't want the other vampires to figure it out.
Ooh, scandalous. So what was Claudia's reaction to the Coven? Oh, wait. Santiago reminds me of someone who has a crush on you but acts the opposite.
Schoolyard antics.
Act childish.
Yes. So what was Claudia's reaction to the Coven, and what was Louis' reaction to the Coven?
Claudia for me was kind of curious. Typical Claudia. Curious. To me in the movie they didn't go in depth as much, and I didn't see the thirst to want to belong and be on stage as much as we did in the show. But for me, Louis was consistent, kind of standoffish, like I don't want no parts of this. Like I'm good. We good. The fam good. Moving on.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, we did see some strands of Claudia's curiosity as it relates to the coven. but definitely we could tell that Louis was not having it. He didn't like it. He thought that they were vain. He thought that they were putting on a show, and it was too gory for his human sensibilities.
He honestly looked disgusted. Like he
Hmm.
just looked like he was just disgusted and like they are beneath him. Like I came all the way to France and this is what the other vampires are like. You can't sit with us.
You cannot sit with us. I love it.
That's exactly how Louis came off. Like I am boss bitch and I cannot be associated with you peons. Like that's what I got from Louis.
What I found interesting was like Armand in the show, he kind of was like on like that director producer type thing, but in the movie he's on stage. He's it's like they swapped the lines with him in Santiago basically, and so I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, okay, which is more consistent with the book.
So going back to that scene, I didn't write a question for it, but I'm gonna ask y'all something off the top of my head. So hold on. It was a huge sexual revolution in Paris. Was it?
Always,
I
always.
thought it was. I didn't know that. Give us some more information on that awakened soul. So my question to you is, why do you think Armand wanted the play to look like that when they fed for the coven to feed on the individual in front of everybody? And why would it only be just one person? Why wouldn't it be multiple people they feed on?
It's so hard. It's so hard because I'm trying to separate the show from the movie from the books. Um,
Okay, tell us about the book.
well, and even what I'm realizing is sometimes I'll get the books confused with the movie, and the movie confused with the TV. My memory right now is all over the place. But at least in the book, Armand was not involved with the coven at all. Well, I'm not going to say at all. That's a lie when I say at all. He would come along and he would settle disputes that they might have, and things of that nature. He would be the one to kill vampires, all that other good stuff. But to be involved in the production of the plays, nah. Part of the reason why we saw Armand was because he needed to distract from what was happening with the play, because this is me talking right now because I don't remember, but my thought is that he could tell that he was losing Louis, and he didn't want Louis to be so turned off. And so by him interjecting himself, he knew that Louis was attracted to him. By him interjecting himself, now Louis would be focused on him, which would keep Louis' attention, which was his ultimate goal.
Elia, you want to chime in on anything?
So earlier, I was like, which is consistent. I realized I said it poorly. I was trying to see like, okay, which one is more consistent with the book? The Santiago version on the stage with the lines, or the Armand. So that just answered my question.
Okay. So, why do you think Lestat never told them about the coven and the vampire rules?
Elliot.
First of all, my husband can do no wrong. Um, Perhaps because of how he was made, um, which would be one part, but then the other part being just stay away from Paris. That's not what you want. That's not what you want.
Stay away from Paris. Why did Lestat not share that information with Louis and Claudia? Most of it was because, well, okay, so remember, even in New Orleans, like even in the movie, The first time that Louis heard the word Paris and the fact that Lestat had been to Paris, Louis got excited. Like in that moment, he hated Lestat, but as soon as Lestat started talking about Paris, he got excited. Like, oh, Paris. In the book said that Paris was a place that Louis had always wanted to go. He always wanted to go to Paris. Like as a human, he wanted to go to Paris. And on top of that, Louis was very curious about vampires. So a place I want to go, I'm curious about vampires. There are vampires in Paris. Now, the reason Lestat didn't tell him a whole lot. He didn't tell him a whole lot about what Magnus told him. Other than basically what Magnus told him, like what you should do when you're making someone, and stay away from the sun and fire and all that other good stuff. There wasn't a whole lot that he actually told him, and that's basically what he told Louis and Claudia. Outside of that, he didn't share all those other things that was going on in Paris, because to him, Paris was they were living in a time that no longer existed. In other words, what he was attempting to say or to prove was that vampires live in the time in which they're made. And if your thinking is from old world, it's gonna carry on. But if you live hundreds of years, you're still living in this old world that no longer exists. And so that was part of the reason why he didn't want them to know about all of that.
So he feels like the Parisian vampires are unevolved.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't use the word unevolved, but I know what you mean. Yes.
Stuck in the time frame that they first were made in, and they haven't moved past that. So they're stuck in the old world ways, and they haven't evolved to the new world yet.
Got it. Not doing it old way.
Okay, that makes sense. I could see why he would do that. So Waken says, was that asked to feed on Armand to feed because of what Louis and Claudia did, but Armand was dead set on using that to his advantage to drop him on the ground. This was in the Vampire Lestat book. I didn't understand that.
So he's talking about when when Lestat finally did make it to Paris once Louis and Claudia put him in the swamp. When he finally did get to Paris, Lestat was seeking out Armand because he knew that Armand's blood was enough to kind of resurrect his strength.
Okay, so he wouldn't be looking crazy anymore. He'd be back to his normal self. Because he was looking dead and just dull and dreary.
That's why we want to be looking crazy to vote.
He felt like depressed and sad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So next part, Claudia wants a companion. So before we go into how Claudia's companion was made, why would Claudia want a companion now that Louis is by himself and has Armand? Why would Claudia want a companion? I think I answered it, but why would Claudia want a companion?
What happened to me and you? You and me. Me and you.
And to bring it to the show, when you're in love, you're stupid. What about what I need? What about me? Okay.
Because she would have been again the third wheel. She, like, when was she gonna have her own paramour? Right? And because she's so young, she couldn't. So she needed that companion for herself.
Hell yeah.
Same. It's like Claudia is exhausted. She's exhausted with him. I'm sick of you. You always in love, but what about me? Listen, there is something that I need to. We done off Lestat. Okay, cool. But I already know you. As soon as you see Antonio Banderas, Armand, Puss in Boots come in the room, okay. Now I'm invisible. Here we go again. You're getting your little vampire rocks off. You can't help yourself. And so now we just gonna toss me to the side. Not this time, bastard. Not this time.
So how did Claudia find her companion?
In the movie.
She still went to the dressmaker, right? Yeah. No. Yeah. No.
I just saw this movie.
Oh, cause she murked the lady that was naked, that she was admiring her form. She killed her. But I think she went into the it was the dressmaker still. I think that stayed consistent.
It was the dressmaker? Okay. So why did she chose that person, that dressmaker out of everybody to be her companion? I don't know if this is in the movie or if it's in the book.
What song is that? I can't place it.
I can read your mind. That's Avant. I know what you're thinking. You know what? Awakens all vibes.
All right.
That's our soul sister. And our brother, whatever.
I'm always here for the comments.
Oh yes. Y'all know I got ADHD. I'm so distracted.
Okay. Why did Claudia pick the dressmaker to be her companion? If it wasn't detailed in the movie, what did it say in the book? Oh, not pussy, bussy. Books, birds, and purrs. I fucks with you.
Y'all don't block us. Don't block us. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
The question was, why did Claudia choose the dressmaker to be her companion out of everybody she could choose in Paris? Because she was gonna choose a motherfucker in Paris to be her companion. She was tired of Armand and Louis and Lestat. She was like, "Fuck that! I need a companion too." So why did she pick the dressmaker?
And I think the follow-up question was, if they didn't really get into it in the movie, what was it like in the book? Now, I don't remember there being a huge scene that would make me feel like, okay, this is why she picked this person as her person. So I'm not certain about that.
So if memory serves me, definitely Claudia was looking for her own companion. The thing about the dressmaker was that the dressmaker had recently lost her own daughter. And she was grieving over the loss of her daughter. So this was an opportunity for Claudia to have her own companion, and this would be a companion that she would be more powerful than, because I believe, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I believe by this point Claudia had lived 70 years, in and around 70 years, maybe 60 some odd years, something like that. So Claudia was a wise enough fledgling, if you will. So she definitely would have been more powerful than the dressmaker. So this would have been someone that she would have been guiding and serving as a mentor to, but also it would have been her companion, her lover. So
I'm glad you said that. I remember now the woman's locket and the child that she lost kind of favoring Claudia a little bit. But before that scene, I don't remember a lot more than that. So I'm glad you did bring that up.
Okay, thank you. Because I didn't remember that part of the scene where they talked about how the companion was made and why. So I couldn't imagine being stuck physically as a child.
Don't be a teacher.
what? I'm trying to figure that one out.
The pay is childish, the day is childish, everything's childish.
Okay. I just want to know what her sex scenes look like as a
unnatural.
Very unnatural. So during this time, what is the Coven doing? While Claudia and Louis are going around the city, and Louis is with Armand and Claudia is with her companion, what is the Coven doing during this time?
Dog, I need to watch
Are
this
they
movie.
plotting? I'm gonna just say plotting.
Plotting.
Yeah.
Plotting.
Uh,
Always plotting.
uh, the movie, I don't know if the movie showed it. It might have been like in dialogue. I think Armand later told Louis in dialogue. I'm probably wrong on that. But what we know is that they were following them around. They were getting as much information as possible. Um, yeah, yeah.
They were following them around, and they were getting all the evidence that they could get in order to take them out. So, at what point did Lestat go to Armand in the Coven? At what point did he do that? Because I don't remember that.
In the
We
movie,
didn't see it in the movie. We didn't
in the
see it in
movie,
the
they
movie.
didn't. They did not.
Even though
So,
it happened in the book and it happened in the TV show, it didn't happen in the movie.
Even the way that it ended, like no, it's just different.
okay, so to me, this part was the scariest part of the whole. Like as a little kid, I was freaked out. I was scared when Louis and Claudia and the companion were captured by the Coven. Yeah, Jermaine, can you paint that scene for me?
Jermaine don't
No.
remember that scene.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
remember the scene. I mean, I know it, but I don't remember. I don't remember what happened. Don't. I mean, and I've seen. I promise you, I saw it. I just don't remember. It's just not the same.
Y'all, we all have brain farts today because I done watched this movie 900 times. I kid you not, and I'm like, what?
Okay, so I remember the part where they. I don't. Do y'all remember exactly where they were at when the Coven came and got them and jerked them away and pulled them down the stairs? They were somewhere. I don't know where exactly. And they came and it was a redhead vampire. And she was like, ha ha ha, come on, little girl, and pulled them down.
In a hotel.
I don't know. I don't remember. I really don't remember. Does anybody in the audience that's watching remember? So they pulled them. So basically, what happens is they capture Claudia, Louis, and the companion. They pull them down the stairs. And once they pull them down the stairs, they pull them down into the dungeon. It's free on Tubi, but it's hard to watch now. I'll rewatch it.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. Books, girls, and furs.
So
You're
were
right.
they in the theater
They
or where?
weren't they
She's
on the balcony?
yes.
Okay.
I do. I recall. Now that you say it, I remember.
Okay, they were on the balcony and they got pulled down. And they got
Hmm.
pulled down into the dungeon. And when they got pulled down into the dungeon, at one point, that's when they got separated. Louis went one way and they put him into the box or the
Hmm.
coffin. And
Hmm.
then Claudia and the companion got pulled into the dungeon room where the crate was over the top of it so the sun could beam through. But it was at nighttime when it happened.
Hmm. Hmm. All true. All true.
What do you think Claudia was thinking about as this was happening?
Wait till I get out so I can kill y'all. That's what she was thinking. I'm gonna kill every last one of y'all. That's what she was thinking. Hmm.
Oh, why didn't so on the TV show they put them on trial? On the movie there wasn't a trial. What was it like in the book?
There was a trial. I don't remember the trial in the book being quite as explicit as this. Not to say that it wasn't. And when I say as this, I'm talking about the TV show. Not to say that it wasn't. I just don't remember it being memorable as I was reading it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But there was a trial.
Okay. So now Claudia, Louis, and Claudia's companion are captured. What happens next?
So
Armand.
juxtaposed to the show, there is no trial. So they outright are about to execute them. And Claudia is with her companion when it happens. Louis is rescued by Puss in Boots, um, the vampire edition. And so I'm gonna stop right there.
I think the version of Claudia was just in pure shock. Show Claudia is more aware of what's happening. Thank you,
Yeah.
Nicole.
What was that question again?
Okay. So Claudia, Louis, and Claudia's companion are captured. What happens next?
Okay, so when the sun comes up, they die. They meaning Claudia and the dressmaker, they die. Um, but it was like after they die, that is when Armand comes to get Louis, frees Louis. Um, no, did he?
Yeah.
Okay, frees Louis. And didn't Louis try to burn it right then and there?
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, he tried to burn it right then and there. There was no lag time. He just he started burning the place down, and Armand was just kind of like, "Oh,
But before he burned it down, he stormed through like Beyonce. He stormed through all the Coven members. At that point, the Coven members knew something was going on. Why do you think the Coven members didn't do anything to stop Louis?
so there was an agreement. Louis was never supposed to die.
Okay.
Louis was never supposed to die. There was an agreement between the Coven and Lestat that Louis would not die. And if memory, I mean, Armand definitely didn't want Louis to die. So their expectation was that Louis was going to live no matter what. They just needed to kill Claudia and who she made.
Because she's an abomination. So they were going to kill her regardless. There was nothing anybody could do. So why did Armand not stop his own people from doing what they did? You already said that because they can't kill Louis. But did he not understand that allowing them to kill Claudia, he would lose Louis forever and eventually be left alone?
So I have an answer, but I'm curious as to what Elia has to say because I don't want to keep talking about the book.
Say it one more time, Britt.
So did Armand not understand that allowing them to kill Claudia, he would lose Louis forever and eventually be left alone?
And see, we know that I am not a Puss in Boots enthusiast. So I think that Armand was just so cunning and clever that it wasn't going to be a factor for him. I don't think he was thinking about I'm going to lose Louis forever because of all the manipulation, all the tactics, all the things that he had in place. I don't know that truly losing Louis was a threat to him.
Mm.
So in Armand's head, number one, Claudia was an abomination. She needed to die. There were no ifs, ands, or buts about that. She was going to die. And the situation with the dressmaker, they were just attached at that particular point in time. So just going ahead and kill her. She was nothing. She was a fledgling. She was just made. She's a nobody. They've killed too many other vampires as it was. So what about her? Who cares about her? So that was the situation there. What Armand was thinking was, what he knew was that Louis needed a companion. Louis needed a tether to Earth, if you will. And in his head, he thought that he could have been that tether to Earth, not knowing that that wasn't what Louis wanted.
Mm. All right, so those are the main questions that I had for y'all. So he thought Louis would be fulfilled as his companion. Okay, thank you, Nicole. So the last question I have for y'all, for each one of y'all, what are your thoughts overall of Interview with the Vampire, the character Louis, the character Lestat, the character Claudia, and the Coven? Pick one.
I'm about to say, dang, I
Well,
feel like
we got about 10 minutes. We can talk about all of it.
I'm taking a exam for grad school.
I'll start when it comes to Lestat. Um, it's so hard because I've seen the TV show. So this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say that Lestat is a one-dimensional character. He just is what he is, and you don't see any nuance from him. He's a predator. He's evil. He wants to delight in all things sensuality and death. That's his purpose. Okay. Um, but when I originally watched the movie, that is what I wanted. I mean, he's a vampire. That's what he's supposed to do. Okay. What was odd for me was the character of Louis. Louis was what was odd, right? He was what was odd because Claudia gave what Lestat was given, right? Um, it was Louis who was the oddball out. Why was Louis so emotional? Why was Louis so detached from the idea of being a vampire? Um, the more you read, the more you understand. I'm going to leave that one alone. But again, in this movie, Louis is also one dimensional. That's just how he is all throughout. That's all throughout, except for the end when he decided to kill everybody. Except in the end when he decided to kill everybody, and also when he took Armand by the face and he was doing all this, and his nose touched Armand's nose and touched his forehead, and his lip came about 2 centimeters away from Armand's lip. I was like, oh Jesus.
Look, I was trying to mirror you.
I mean, that was it. That was the moment. That was the moment right there. The Coven. The Coven didn't seem okay. So in the TV show showed that the Coven, even though there were splinters within a coven, that's what you would expect in any organization, right? You would have different groups of people within an organization. I don't really remember seeing that. Yes, we saw Santiago, and I guess Santiago was supposed to be the manifestation of that. But he was just one character, and it just seemed, well, anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone. The Coven just seemed to be like an afterthought, right? And it wasn't until the end that you realized, oh, the Coven was doing all of this, right? And Armand was someone that you want us to talk about as well.
Yeah.
I saw Armand looking at the movie now. I'm not talking about when I first saw it. When I first saw the movie, I was like, oh, I can tell he really likes Louis. Now I see Armand as a flawed character. He was clearly a flawed character. You have your own intentions, and it doesn't work out with your coven. Like, okay, I get it that you like Louis, but you just gonna let Louis kill your own coven? Like, that don't make no sense, because you don't know what's going to happen with Louis. You don't know if Louis is going to accept you, and he didn't.
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry. Those were my thoughts.
They were good thoughts.
Lestat, one dimensional.
You're basic. You're basic. You're okay. Basic.
No, he was great. He was great for the show. I think Tom Cruise did a really good job. Other than I hated his teeth, but other than his teeth, I thought Tom Cruise. Huh?
He's British.
No, French, but huh?
There's no excuse.
I think when other people are talking, we can't hear you. Say that one more time, Brittany.
Oh, I said he's French.
Uh-huh.
They known for the bad teeth.
I feel chastised.
What?
What other people other than me?
No, I was talking too. At one point I was talking too. So, but I was just saying that whenever other people are talking, we can't hear Brittany.
You know I'm guilty.
That's all.
I'm guilty. Guilty.
No, but I think Tom Cruise did an excellent job. He had a lot of scenes. I think what happened was Kirsten Kirsten Dunst's performance was so outstanding that you overlooked Tom Cruise's performance. And let's be honest, I think Brad Pitt did a good job. It's just that the character that he had was so flat.
Mm.
What could you
Yes,
do?
Mm.
yes,
All
it
he
was
needed
so
to do
easy
was
to
look.
play.
Oops, I'm sorry.
What'd you say, Elia?
I said all he needed to do was look pretty.
I love Armand as a character. Show Armand is fantastic. Movie Armand is so wildly different from the character in the book, very much giving Puss in Boots.
Y'all gonna get me in trouble.
Oh yeah, what are your thoughts?
Ooh, all right. So Louis, uh, like we said, nice to look at. I love how they casted this show. As far as the character, a little bit flat for me too. Gotta agree with Jermaine. Um, Claudia, as always, you fall in love with Claudia. So I just enjoyed watching her on the film Lestat. I'm gonna always be a Lestat enthusiast. I did not have the urge to sleep with this version of Lestat, and maybe because he's knee high to a duck. Um, and so perhaps it's his vertical challenged nature that didn't make me want to just jump his bones. However, you do still get that asshole Lestat nature. You get all of that. You get the humor, and so still a Lestat girl. So I love that. As far as Armand, I'm not gonna call him Puss in Boots this time. Um, but it is what the role was giving me as well. Although I'm a huge Antonio Banderas fan, absolutely love the man. But as for Armand, we didn't get as much of him as I would have liked. The Coven were just to me a bunch of clowns. I was grateful that the show showed me a little bit more as it pertains to the Coven. So I appreciated that. And so yeah, so my thoughts.
All right, so I thought, thank you, Elia, that was great. I thought the Coven was an afterthought. I thought there was no real, like the real purpose to them. We saw it at the end, like Jermaine said, but the whole time the Coven had no real substance and didn't give me anything to feed off of in terms of what their role was supposed to be versus the show, which gave me a lot of substance and a lot of background and a lot of understanding of what they do, how they affected Louis and Claudia, how they affected Lestat, how they affected our minds. If I had to pick, I honestly like the Santiago that was in the TV show versus Santiago that was in the movie because the Santiago in the movie was a fucking buffoon. I'm so annoying and irritating and ugly. I'm sorry, he was ugly. He was not cute. He was not. He was not. He gave me nothing. I don't know who that actor is. I am so sorry, sir. You're ugly.
You ugly and you're wrong.
You're not cute. And the lace front they put on you was atrocious. Now, for Claudia, I loved Claudia. Claudia, whether she's in the show or whether she's in the movie, is fantastic. All the actresses that have played Claudia have been on their shit. I don't know what they do, I don't know how they do it, but they have found the right actresses to play Claudia and do her justice. They honed into her apex predatorness, her ability to be more than one, well, multi-dimensional, and to be able to show the different layers and emotions and effects that nobody else in this series or movie have shown. Lestat, I like the TV version Lestat better than Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise did a great job for the 90s, but I like the TV show Lestat way better. He's that nigga. That's just him. Okay? He's that bitch. He's that queen pin. I'm Lestat. I'm walking through. Here I go. Louis is the same. Louis is the same wherever he goes. He's depressed. He's sad. He's very human. I think he's bipolar, schizophrenic, because in the TV show the schizophrenic side came out. I think he's bipolar schizophrenic, and when he got put in that coffin, it came out, and that's why he had a mania moment, and that's why he went and killed everybody.
It's Louis in a DSM-5 for me. He's bipolar, schizophrenic, ADHD, ODD, BD.
All of that, he got triggered and it all came out. Awakened Soul says, has anyone ever had a dream of them? I did with Lestat and Louis after the first season.
It would be, listen, it wouldn't be a dream. It would be a nocturnal emission. Say it right away, so guys. Not a dream. A nocturnal emission. Okay.
I love them. They are amazing. Lestat and Louis are phenomenal. I mean, their presence on screen is just chef's kiss.
Look, I'm gonna have to start sending y'all those videos I see on I was about to say on Twitter, on X
Like,
in the morning when I'm scrolling through. It's a lot of Louis and Lestat. I'm gonna send y'all some of those.
Don't send them all.
Tom Cruise's Lestat dancing with the dead body, saying there's still life in the old lady was peak Lestat.
Yes, it was. Yes. It was so inappropriate and juicy. I loved it.
Yes, it was. Claudia is who stood out to me the most from the movie since I was a kid.
Yes, when she cut that hair off and had that whole bitch fit. Oh my goodness. I loved which one of you did it? When the hair grew and I was like, you know what? Who did it? Y'all better tell them. Somebody got to answer for this.
Sam Reeves Lestat hits the spot. Yes, he.
The G spot, all the spots.
All of them.
The wet spot.
Oh my
God. Did you see my comment, Brittany? So let me start with Elia. How would you rate the movie both before and after the show? So give the movie a rating before the show, and then give the movie a rating after the show.
What's our barometer?
What works better, 1 to 5 or 1 to 10?
1 to 5.
It's better than 5 inches, 10. Okay, we're going with 5. We're going a little different. Cool, no problem. All right. So before the show, yeah, childish.
If you're watching, give us your ratings as well.
Yes, please do. Give us all the inches we needed. All right. So before the show, I'm gonna say that the movie for me was a 5. And picture it's out in the 90s. I'm not gonna give away my age because it's not your business. One of my favorite movies. Absolutely one of my favorite vampire movies. You know, so for me, before the movie was a 5. After the show, the movie for me is gonna probably be a 2.5, maybe a 3, maybe. And that's the beauty of being able to do a show. You can go so much deeper, so much longer, so much harder, so much further. And so you get satiated in every single way that you can absolutely imagine. And so for me, the show was able to give me inch by inch.
The girth of the show was amazing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. The depth, the girth of the show was able to satiate me, and my joy was inexorable by the end of it. And so, yes, for me, I'm gonna have to say 3, maybe a 3, 2.5 to 3 range after being so pleasured by the show. Yeah. And Jermaine's about to fall out of his chair. He knows me. He knows me better than anybody, and that's why he's about to follow. Just like, oh God, I knew it was coming. I didn't know when it was coming, but it was coming. Onyx Crown is dying laughing. Yeah, I hope I'm not single after this because yeah, I'm gonna get cussed out.
She said,
You know, and so that's why I asked for a barometer. I like your out, Nicole. Listen, chef's kiss, as Brittany says. I love the way you measure. I do.
oh my God, books, girls, and purrs.
They get it. They understand us. I'm gonna have to send flowers after this.
That 1D lace front, Awakened Souls.
It's definitely a Tyler Perry stage play wig.
With a little mic in the front.
Yes, with the mic in the front. The fuck? Y'all horrible. Don't change.
Believe it or not, my ratings are not that dissimilar from El Yes for the exact same reason. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Brittany.
So mine were 2.
Damn.
2.
Wait a minute. Before or after the show?
After.
Oh, okay.
So at the beginning, I thought that movie was a 5. I was like, this is my favorite movie of all time. This is shit. I love it. Vampires are everything. Fuck yeah. Vampires. Okay.
Had a whole phase and everything after that, huh?
And then after the show, 2. Because they don't give as much substance as the show did. They don't have as much character development. It's not as much Lestat and Louis as I would want, and the sex scenes. They have sex scenes.
Thank you.
The sexual tension is implied in the movie, and I can't stand that. And I know it was the 90s, but bullshit. I can't stand that. They could have done more.
That's what brought it down. That's what brought it down.
I'm gonna need a doctor after this. I can't.
You gotta stay up. You got 2 in the drawer. You gotta stay up. You can't
Stay firm, huh? I gotta stay firm.
stay firm. We get all that work.
We are so elementary. When I die, I want y'all to show the last 10 minutes of the show.
Listen. Oh my goodness. Say all the way down. Nicole's out. Y'all are funny. I'm gonna sleep so good. I'm gonna go back and read these comments again. Don't wheeze. Look, there was more action and more sex with your wheezing than they had in this movie. Get off more on that than what you got from this movie, honey.
Shame. Are we doing Queen of Damn next?
Yes. I'm gonna send y'all the link to the movie.
Oh, listen.
The Damn, are we going to break it down like we did with this, or are we going to keep it like one movie?
We'll talk.
Okay.
Be prepared for my Mayfair Witches like comments when we do Queen of the Damned. Just be prepared.
How do y'all want to cover that? I mean, well, first, who wants to facilitate?
We'll talk.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Brittany?
I don't want to facilitate.
Well, until next time, y'all. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Share to all your friends on all your social media platforms. Until next time, which will be next week. Have a blessed one. And vote! Hope!